Hello everyone, welcome to What's Math. Today we're going to look at integers, variables, and also investigate when fractions are equivalent. If you see any integer, there are hidden things on there that allows us to compute various things in math. The first one I'm going to talk about is the exponent. All integers have an exponent of 1 if you don't see a visible exponent. And the reason being, anything to the power of 1 is itself except for 0. It can also be written as a fraction, and as a fraction is written over 1. And remember, the fraction bar means division, so technically we have 5 divided by 1, which is equal to 5. So therefore, the quantity of the numerical expression did not change. It also has a decimal place of 0.0. It could be 0.000, 0.00000. As long as you're using 0 as a placeholder, the quantity does not change as well. It also has a positive sign, but because it's the first set of numbers we always learned, positive numbers, it is understood. But if it was negative, it will have the negative sign in front of it. And in that case, it will only have 3 hidden things. Let's move on to a variable. I know you're probably wondering, would the variable has the same hidden things as an integer? The first one we're going to look at is the exponent. The variable also have an exponent of 1. It is also written as a fraction over 1. But the thing that is different in compared to the integer, it has a number in front of it which is known as the coefficient. It tells you the quantity. And a number in front of a variable actually means multiplication. So technically this is 1 times x, which is just equivalent to x. So remember, the coefficient is multiplication. That's the operation between the coefficient and the variable. And it also have a positive sign. If it was negative, then the negative sign would be there. Now, you may be wondering, what happened to the 0.0 for the decimal? It does not have a decimal, and this is because of the definition of a variable. I know that most people believe that the definition of a variable is something that represents an unknown number. But the proper definition for a variable is something that represents an unknown. Therefore, the unknown could be an integer or any number. It could also be an expression. It could be another variable. So in that case, we cannot use a decimal point on a variable. Now, let's investigate if these fractions are equivalent. Are they equal? The first one I have is a -1 over 3. Remember, the fraction bar means division. So technically we have -1 divided by 3, which is equal to -0.33. Or negative repeated, or -0.3 repeated. The second one that we have is +1 divided by -3. And as a result, it would be -0.33 repeated. The third one, we have a negative sign on the fraction bar. That means the entire fraction is negative. So this would be a negative, open parentheses, 1 divided by 3, close parentheses, and that is also equivalent to -0.33 repeated. All three values are exactly the same. So as a result, we can safely say that all three fractions are the same. I know they are the same. However, whenever you're solving problem, it is best, I recommend that you use the first one, -1/3, because this will work all the time no matter what you're trying to compute in math. 1/-3 will only work sometime, depends on what you're working on in math. Might as well use the one that will work all the time. So the -1/3 is actually the best one to use to solve problem. It's very important to note that it is actually -1/3. So only the numerator should be negative. You cannot make the denominator negative as well, because then you will have a negative divided by negative, which is positive, and in reality the fraction is negative. So it has to be a negative divided by a positive, which is equal to a negative. So that's very important. The last one is the proper way to actually write a negative fraction. And you will notice this when the textbook is giving you problems, or the learning platform is giving you a problem, it is written like that. That's the proper way of actually writing a negative fraction. You might see your teachers or professors write it that way as well when they're starting off the problem, because that's the proper way of writing it. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share, and spread the word, please. I really would appreciate it. Also, if you like what you see in this video, feel free to buy me a coffee. It's not mandatory, you don't have to, but thank you in advance.